Hello and welcome to another section in further mathematics. In this section, we'll be looking at the topic linear inequality. But before that, let us review the previous lesson. Okay, welcome back. Now, when we talk about linear inequality, inequality symbolizes not being certain in value, as in not being certain, uncertainty in value. Now, if I should ask a question, how many years will you stay before you leave planet Earth? Okay, let me say you're 18 years old today. 18 years old. The only thing you have to tell me is that you know very well that you stay above 18 years. Let X be the number of age that you live on Earth. Since today makes you 18 years and you're not dying now, so definitely from tomorrow, that's to say the value of your X will be greater than 18 if X symbolizes the date that you will live. Now, if you watch what is happening, X does not assume a specific value. You just give X a range that X is greater than 18, but you did not specify the accurate value of X. So that is how inequality is. If I should tell you now how many grains of rice do you think makes a cup of rice, you can freely tell me that all you know is that it is more than 100. Now, being greater than 100 shows that you are not sure of the exact number of it, but you are very much sure that it can never be anything below 100. That is why we say this sign being greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to symbolizes uncertainty when it comes to value. So for example, now when you talk about inequalities, sometimes we assume and we give the inequality signs an equality sign. It doesn't mean that it is equal, but the value of inequality still retain its ability. So now with this, let's go into solving some questions so that you now understand how to properly make use of the signs that we have in inequality. But one of the things I want you to know is that your right hand, folding your right arm, symbolizes greater than. Your left hand is less than. Now the right arm, folding it this way with a line under it, symbolizes greater or equal to. While that of the left and equal, it symbolizes less or equal to. But whichever way you want to pick the numbers, the signs, you discover that there is no certainty in the value you are about to take. Now let's move ahead and let's go into solving. Question 1 says find the solution set of each of the following inequalities and represent them graphically. Now the questions are, this question 1, want to solve for 2x minus 3 less than x plus 7, and question 2 says 3x plus 4 greater than 1 minus 2x. Now let's start with number 1. Question number 1. We have 2x minus 3 is less than x plus 7. Now, one of the things I want us to do now, you just assume this to be the equal to sign. So you collect like terms. Send you are taking the x value to this other side. So we now have 2x minus x less than, we have our 7 plus 3. So 2x minus x here is x, and is less than 7 plus 3 is 10. So the value of this inequality is this. Now, if we want to represent it graphically, now let's say this is a straight line. We have the 0 arc, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now this is 10. Now let me just tell you one thing. One thing about the graphical representation of an inequality is that the line is usually meant to face the wider part of the inequality. Now I will explain. Each time you want to solve an inequality and you want to produce the number line, please make sure you place the value of your x before the answer, so that each time you want to draw your number line graphically, you know how to properly represent it. Now with this, the open part of the inequality serves as your mouth, and that is the direction where the arrow will be entering. So if you have x in this direction, 3, just know that from 3 your arrow will be going this way, because x, the arrow is facing like this. And if you have x facing x, 3, still draw it from 3, but just know that this is where the arrow is open. So for something to enter here, you need to go like this. So your arrow will be facing this direction. So with this, the arrow is wide open like this, so we need to send something into it. So we pick point 10 and we send it this way with an arrow. So this is a number line for the above stated equation. That is how to draw it. So remember that your arrow usually moves in the direction of the wider part of the inequality sign. Now in this, you just place it and there is no arc to it. Most times we make it open. In some of the books, you see them only drawing the direction of the arrow, but here is usually an open arc. You draw it, but it's usually open. Now let's solve our question number 2. And number 2 was 3x plus 4 being greater than 1 minus 2x. Now let's proceed. We have our 3x plus 2x, because if minus 2 comes to this side, it becomes 2x. We still have our sign 1 minus 4. So 3x plus 2x is 5x, the minus 3. So the value of our x go this way, minus 3 over 5. Now if you want to represent this on the number line, let me say this is your number line. Now this is 0 arc. Now 3 over 5 is about 0.6 or 0.7 thereabout. So you now have your minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So 0 point is not up to 1, so it should be around here, minus 3 over 5, if this is a 0 arc. But remember, our sign is facing like this, so our arrow will be going this way. So you come to minus 3 over 5, you take it up, and you send it this way. This is a diagram of x being greater than minus 3 over 5. Why this is for x less than or 10. So this is how you produce your both diagrams. Now I would like us to move further into some of the inequalities that comes in a quadratic form. Now quadratic inequality. Now when you talk of this, you use the same format in solving it. For example, if you have x squared plus x minus 6 greater than 0. Now one of the things you need to do at this point is just to solve this, to solve the question in front of you. What are the factors? We have x squared minus 2x plus 3x minus 6, 0, x, then in bracket x minus 2 plus 3 x minus 2 will be greater or equals 0. So at this point we are having x minus 2 and x plus 3 to being greater than 0. So you know how we usually do it. So we now have either x minus 2 being greater than 0 or x plus 3 being less than 0. So with this, you know that our x is greater than 2 or x is less than minus 3. Now in the other way around, now if you watch, we decided to turn this to less than, while this was greater than. Now in the other way around, let's also turn this one to less than and greater than. Then we now decide which of the pair will suit our number line. So we can as well say x minus 2 less than 0 or x plus 3 greater than 0. So with this we now have our x to be less than 2 or our x to be greater than 3, to be greater than minus 3. Now let me ask us a question. These are two pairs of answer, this and this. Let's check the one that is possible. Now you can see that x, from here, this pair of answers, we have x being greater than 2. That is, the x might be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then at this point, x is less than minus 3. It's wrong. X does not fall within this range, because if x is greater than 2, at the same time, x cannot be less than minus 3. Now let's check this other answer. X is less than 2. That's x ranges from 2 downwards, and x is greater than minus 3. I think this one is correct, because x can be greater than minus 3 at the same time less than 2, because 1 can fall within this range. 1.5 is within this range. We have 0.5 there also. The value of our x now becomes, we are taking this 2, so we have it as minus 3 less than a value of x less than 2. So minus 3 less than x, where x is less than 2. So this is the solution for our inequality. Now let's draw it on a number line. Remember what I told you before drawing it. Remember, this is the one we took. So you draw a straight line. This is the 0 arc. You have 1, 2, and 3. This is minus 1, minus 2, and minus 3. Now when you have something like this, remember, at this point, since we are going with these two answers, at this point, it's going this way, because this is the open part of it. So you go to 2, take it up, it's going this way. So the value is at this point is this way, this direction. Now here we have from minus 3. So you stop at minus 3, bring it down. From minus 3, this is the open part of it. So it's going in this direction. So it's now going in this direction. So with this point is so this point, this is our nature of the graph. So this is the nature of the graph. So with this, we've seen the graphical representation of the inequality. So this represents this. So with this, I would like to say a very big thank you for joining us in today's lesson. But to refresh your memory on what we just discussed, I will advise you take the test that will be appearing shortly on your screen. Do well to always use the lesson notes on the platform for better information on the topic we've discussed. Always feel free to drop your comments, your questions, your recommendations. So thank you, and see you in our next lesson.